tell the good jokes.
Alvin Dedeaux, all our guys, catch me with the
It's pretty simple, actually. So I'm glad you want it in layman's terms. I'm just a fly fishing guide in Austin, Texas. Austin, Texas is where I live. I've been here for, a long time, since 1982. And I guide both locally on the rivers around Austin and Central Texas. Also guide for redfish, mostly down on the Texas coast, so but like the middle Texas coast. Nothing fancy, nothing magic, nothing hard to understand. I get paid to take people on the boat and hopefully put them on a fish with the fly rod. That's kind of my day-to-day existence. Larry Sunderland, the guy who owned the fly shop, said, well, hey man, why don't you just stay here and work at the fly shop? And I was like, no way. And he says, yeah. He goes, I've been, thinking about asking you forever, but you always seem like you had something better to do, He's like, if you could work here for 6 months and if it doesn't work out, I'll give you the best recommendation you've ever gotten from a boss. And I was like, well, I never got a recommendation from a boss before. So, I was like going, well, I guess, why not, And I remember him saying, he goes, okay, well, one stipulation. And I was like, what's that? And he's like, you got to keep the pink toenail polish on your toes if you're going to work at the fly shop. It is fortunate that I get paid to do what I do. Although, it's like I'm not out there on the river fishing every day, and I'm not out there on the coast fishing every day. Most days I'm trying to put somebody else on a fish, which is not exactly the same thing. Fortunately for me, I enjoy that as much. Just kind of depends on the day. I enjoy helping other people. Some days almost as much as I would fishing for myself, and then other days I actually enjoy that more than fishing for myself. But either way, I feel really, really lucky to be able to sustain this life doing something that I love to do. Going back to the music business, I remember going and seeing punk rock bands and really good punk rock bands like Black Flag, you name it, any of those kind of first gen, early to mid 80s, even into the 90s punk rock bands. And these guys were just, some really amazing performers, amazing writers, and just unbelievable shows. And these guys were going out in vans, just driving all over the country, grinding it out, sleeping on couches. And they all knew that they were never going to get rich and famous doing that, because that's not where the world was going at that point in time. And yet they still did it. And that's kind of how the fly fishing thing started out for me as well. I mean, I realized that I could do it, I could grind it out, I could make some money doing it, but I was never going to be rich or famous. Not that I am now, but it is definitely gone way beyond where I thought it was going to go. Because there was, like you said, there was a lot of grinding it out. There was a lot of punk rock days in the world of being a fly fishing guide. Back in the 90s and even in the early 2000s, it was definitely a grind and definitely a struggle a lot of the times. But I just loved it. We all loved it. Everybody that came up doing it during that time, that's still doing it, it was just something you just had to do.